Roman Empire was glorious, but a true evil lived beneath its shadow. For one soldier, a quest for vengeance will drag him into a final battle against an ancient vampire king. The war for eternal night begins now.
The glory of the Roman Empire was at its peak. The imperial legions ruled over half the known world, and the power of Caesar was acknowledged everywhere. But beneath this dazzling facade, in the dark alleys and desolate regions, other forces were thriving. This is the story of an era where, alongside the human world, non-human creatures also lurked in the shadows. Kaiser Valerius was an ancient vampire who had lived since the dawn of the Roman Empire. He had maintained his reign of power and fear for 8 centuries. He had eternal life, but his existence was incomplete. He was without his queen. The legend said that if Valerius could find his true soulmate, their combined power would be so great that they could rule the world forever. In this quest, Valerius had shed the blood of countless innocent people, testing every beautiful and strong woman he could find. But his search remained unfulfilled. There was a restlessness within him, a hunger that only his queen could satisfy. In the same era, there was a Roman soldier named Marcus Trajanus. 15 years ago, while he was on duty in a small border town, Valerius and his followers had brutally murdered his entire family. Marcus had somehow survived, but the fire of revenge had ignited in his heart forever. He dedicated his life to hunting vampires and destroying them. Over these 15 years, he had become an expert vampire hunter. He learned to use all kinds of ancient weapons, understood the weaknesses of sunlight and silver, and invented new ways to deceive these creatures. His face had become hard, and his eyes cold. In his heart, there was only the obsession to kill Valerius. Valerius's search took him to every corner of the Roman Empire. He sought his queen in desolate cemeteries, dark alleys, and hidden chambers of royal palaces. With his arrival, fear and silence would descend upon every place. Anyone who came in his way became a victim of his ruthlessness. People would hide in their homes as soon as night fell, terrified that the king of eternal night might come knocking at their door. Marcus was also hot on Valerius's trail. He went to the tombs and cities where he found the traces of Valerius's presence. He spoke to people who had witnessed Valerius's terror, and every story fueled the fire of his revenge. Marcus knew that killing Valerius would not be easy. He was an ancient and powerful enemy, but Marcus's resolve was unshakable. One night, when the city of Rome was shrouded in darkness, Valerius received news that his queen was hiding in that very city. An anonymous message had reached him, identifying the woman he had been searching for over centuries. Valerius immediately commanded his loyal followers to surround the entire city and present every beautiful woman to him. Marcus, who was in Rome at the time, felt the turmoil in the city. His instincts told him that Valerius was nearby. He grabbed his weapons and headed towards the area where he felt Valerius's presence, the oldest and most desolate part of the city, where the ruins of ancient buildings were steeped in darkness. Valerius had made an old, broken Roman temple his temporary lair. There, in the dim light of candles, he saw the woman he had been waiting for. Her name was Livia, and she was an ordinary girl, but her eyes held the depth and spiritual purity that Valerius had been searching for centuries. Valerius knew that she was his queen. Livia was trembling with fear, trying to avoid Valerius's terrifying gaze. Valerius reached out his hand towards her, a strange smile on his face. After centuries of loneliness, he had finally found his perfect partner. But before Valerius could reach Livia, the temple doors burst open, and Marcus Trajanus entered. A silver sword gleamed in his hands, and his eyes burned with the fire of revenge. "Valerius!" Marcus's voice echoed through the temple. "Your time has come." Valerius looked at Marcus with anger. You've come again? Are you not afraid of death?" "Afraid?" Marcus laughed. "Fear is in your eyes when you see me. Today, I will turn that fear into reality." A terrifying battle began between them. Marcus's silver sword was wounding Valerius's body, while Valerius's sharp claws and strong hands were trying to kill Marcus. The candles in the room began to extinguish, and the darkness grew deeper. Livia, trembling in a corner, watched the horrifying scene. Marcus knew that he couldn't kill Valerius directly. He was too powerful, so he made his move. He lured Valerius to the open courtyard outside the temple, where dawn was about to break. Valerius was not particularly affected by the sunlight, as he was so ancient that he had overcome this weakness. But Marcus knew what his true vulnerability was, his soul. Marcus threw his sword to the ground and pulled out a small silver dagger. Ancient incantations were engraved on the dagger. He grabbed Valerius with force and brought the dagger towards his heart. Valerius screamed, and black smoke began to pour out of his body. Livia also watched the scene in terror. But before Marcus could plunge the dagger into Valerius's heart, Valerius shoved Marcus with immense force, throwing him away. Valerius's eyes were now burning like red fire. "Your revenge will remain incomplete!" Valerius roared and lunged towards Livia. Marcus immediately got up and did what he had wanted to do for 15 years. He gathered all his strength and recited an ancient mantra he had learned from his master. His body began to glow with the silver light. When Valerius reached Livia, Marcus leaped and wrapped himself around Valerius. The silver light began to burn Valerius's body. He screamed, his voice filled with centuries of pain and anger. Livia had closed her eyes in terror. When she opened them again, both Valerius and Marcus were lying on the ground. Valerius's body had turned to ashes, and Marcus's eyes were open, but there was no light in them anymore. He had taken his revenge, but had given his life for it. Livia was now alone, the sole living witness of that terrifying night. The dawn light was falling on the temple ruins, but the air still held the scent of fear and death. The king of eternal night was dead, but his terror was etched into the history of the Roman Empire forever. And Livia, the woman who was meant to be a queen, had now become a living part of that story. A story that would be told for centuries, the story of the night when the shadow of the eternal night fell upon Rome. But the story doesn't end here. Legend has it that Valerius's soul was not completely destroyed. It still wanders in the darkness, in search of his queen, waiting for the day he will rise again and establish his eternal rule over the world. And some also say that Marcus's soul is not at peace either. He still hunts for Valerius's spirit on every dark night, and their eternal war of hatred will never end.